Rob Moroto
Hello.
coming at you live. And um, first, our third often co-host Juan Jose is luckily out working again. Like that's happening more and more. So first of all, welcome to our little what started in the quarantine show, but our quarantine is kind of getting over. So I hope
hmm
we still we'll keep going as long as we can. And I know I've got
Well,
a job or two coming up finally as well. So we're things are getting better. We're here to talk about real estate photography. Rob, how's it going over there in Canada? Up there?
you know, it's pretty good. We've opened up here as well. People are getting back to work, which is great. A lot of listings coming up, and I think we're seeing this surge where a lot of different businesses are trying to get into real estate photography and these virtual tours and everything else. So we've been shooting. God, I think we've shot around 300,000 square feet of office space. We've got businesses that are opening up. We're doing product shoots for companies that have made products that are convenient for that are COVID compliant. Like for example, we've got this one company that came up with this brilliant product. It's fantastic. They've got the patent on it, and it's ridiculous. Essentially, what it is you know how you have your A boards, and I think every realtor out there is going to say the same thing. They complain that the A boards blow over in the wind.
Oh, right.
Well, this thing stops it from blowing over, and not only that, because it goes onto both sides, you can actually put a sign on top of your A board and make it look and put whatever signage you want. So now that in our area, what they did was they've just mandated that if you're doing an open house, you have to have a COVID protocol. So you have to actually have a sign that says, when entering this house, you must do this, 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 and this. And it has everything written on it. And you can actually put the sign right on top of an A board, right on top of your open house sign.
I like the idea of adding new things to signs and being innovative, but are you saying they patented sandbags for making things
No,
not blow over?
it's
What
not
are
a
they doing?
sandbag. If it was a
Like
sandbag,
stakes, like you put in a tent, or what?
hey, you know what? You're gonna make fun of me on this, aren't you? No, this is a fantastic
Not
product.
so much you as having to. Well, I'm probably going to see this product and go, "Wow, that's awesome!" But my
You
first thing
are gonna
was,
see this product and it's gonna say it's
can we
awesome.
use it for light stands as well? Like photographers
No,
carry around sandbags.
it's not like that. It is a product that actually I'm going to bring it up. I'm gonna shamelessly promote it here.
Speaking of
And
shamelessly promoting, should I be covering up this logo on my cup? Should I be going?
I think that if we are doing this for, whoa, just give me a quick sec here. Uh, the, the audio may be a little bit loud, so anyone that's just using headphones right now, I would recommend just turning it down a bit. But
Rob
it,
Mulligan can't stick around. He's got to do some editing. You can just put us on like a phone or an iPad on the side, and
oh well,
if we
here.
say something you really highly disagree with, which is gonna happen, shoot us a message.
Of course.
Thanks, Rob. I
So
mean the
just
other
a
Rob.
sec
It's Rob
here.
Mulligan.
All right. I'm not as good at this as you are, I'll say. All
I
right.
mean,
So
we take a week off. Oh, well, I'm glad you say that, but I'm fumbling around in the background all the time. But I'm glad we take a week off and we can't handle this anymore.
exactly. And well, let's face it. Oh, by the way, happy belated birthday.
Oh, thanks. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
sure.
we
Bring
took
that up.
last week. Yeah, we took last week off to celebrate your birthday, or at least that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the reason. I'll
Okay.
show you. I'm going to bring it around to the birthday present to myself that will wrap it into real estate photography.
Nice.
And
Okay. So I'm just going to show you this quick little video.
it's finally here. Okay.
So that little piece of plastic that goes on your A-frame
Top
stops it from
helps.
blowing over.
How does it help by putting it on top?
Okay.
Let's get the handle. That's good. All right, plastic. That reminds me of those plastic things to carry your shopping bags. so far it seems to make it get more of like a wind sail by adding the
You
thing on the top. But what makes it
you
not fold
think?
over?
Well, so the thing is, when these things fall over, they fall over because the A-frame actually collapses. So it either the wind will actually push it so that the A-frame becomes narrower, and then it just topples over.
Okay. All
So
right. Oh, so it's part of the fact that it closes down. That okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
and so the A-frame will fall over this way, or it'll go this and then topple over, right?
Okay.
And
So Sam,
so
you're much more plugged into the real estate part of the business, not just the photographer part. By the way, if anybody, we've been talking to Rob now for a few weeks or
what's
a
that?
couple few
3
months
months?
now, and man, you are really plugged into the business more. Like you know how to be in the business, relationship with the agents and brokers, and understand the business and all that. So that's awesome. Um, but what I'm wondering is why haven't they made an A-frame that doesn't fold? Like just a
Well,
little, like I'm thinking of like when you set up a table that they fold
mhm.
down, like a banquet
Yeah,
table,
right.
and then you pop
And
it
they,
open. There's that little clip inside that you pop that keeps it open. So I'm not sure why
I,
that innovation hasn't happened.
I'm exactly the same way. I'm like, well, there was a time when they put a chain underneath, and so yeah, the chain stopped it from doing this. But then instead of the chain being there to do that, what happened was that the wind would come in, it would blow it over just a bit, and
The chain's
then
only
boom.
one. The chain doesn't. Chain keeps it one way. It doesn't keep it from closing. It keeps it from opening more.
Exactly. And then I've seen others where they actually put like a stick in the bottom, and then it's like a chain and then a stick, and then so what this thing is, it's a piece of plastic that goes on both sides, but you can put a sign on top, and that's why it's really good for right now when we have to put up notices about, hey, if you're walking into this house and you have a cough, please do not enter, and all this other,
Yeah, let's
you
get
know,
an affiliate link. So
yeah.
so
I,
let's
I will definitely do that. And actually, you know what? Here, I'm gonna put that into the common notes here, and you can add that later.
let me finish introducing. By the way, it's pretty cool. There's going to be transcripts of these going up, so that's kind of cool. In
Yeah.
case you're looking for some of the terms that we're throwing out there. In fact, someone asked the transcription people or something.
Yeah.
They said, "Hey, can we ask you a few questions about these words?" That like one of them was I kept bringing up Aikido because
Oh, yeah.
it's like the martial art of using someone's strength and force and weight and et cetera against them. And so
Yeah.
I kept bringing it up a couple of times and they didn't know the word. So anyway, there's gonna be transcripts of these. It's pretty cool. And
I think it's
uh,
fantastic.
this link you're seeing on the screen may or may not continue, but it's go to the hdrsoft.com, and if you don't already have a license for Photomatix, you can get a free Photomatix Essentials license, which is kind of something that HDRsoft, trying to do positive things, offers during the quarantine. We'll see how long that lasts. There's nothing about like an expiration. Could be any time. I just don't know. So check that out. There's other information to help you get started with HDR if you're new to it. If you're just coming across us and you're not really into it yet, then by all means check that out. One of the ideas I thought of was, I think a lot of homeschooling is continuing even through the summer. Like we're still there's not really until now anyway coming up. I think there's gonna be summer camps and activities again, but a lot of kids. I have my personal experience with this, are bored because dad is working. And okay, so anyway, one of the kids can get started with a new kind of photography, and it's free right now. Rob comes from to us from Calgary Photos. I'm
Hello.
and I'm Ron. With the Photomatix. I'm a photographer in the San Francisco Bay Area. Rob is up there in Canada, Calgary mostly, right?
Yes, the oil central of Canada, which is really hurting right now, but it's okay. We're staying positive,
Awesome.
somewhat.
I know. I almost want to not get into. I want to acknowledge the fact that there's still a lot going on. Where there's
Yes.
new things coming up, and I just so I'm not. We're not certainly not going to get into the good and bad that's going on in the world at the moment. I just want to make sure that we know that we know that. And actually, the one reason I wanted to start doing these things was just to do positive things, keep in contact with photographers. In fact, we got in contact. No, we had been in contact, but we just started to do something new and getting to know each other through this.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of outreach with other photographers that you've introduced me to that have come through this kind of process. And so that's where this started, and we'll see how long it goes. We have, Ron, again, am I low volume again? Rob, you're not helping me out, buddy.
No, you know what? I think.
How's that? Any different?
Yeah, you sound a lot louder now.
Any background noise?
No. Here? Okay. You might hear my kids going up and downstairs and screaming and yelling.
I don't hear any from you. I was just wondering. I turned the gain all the way up, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have background noise.
Yeah, you sound pretty good.
I think that's all I've got. I can just get really close to the thing. All right. So
do like an ASMR version of our show here.
I don't know that.
Yeah, we're not going to go there.
Thanks, Karen, for the help. Maybe that's what James meant. Maybe James means thank you for the volume too. I'm not sure. All right. So I put down for the topic of this. It's question and answer. So anybody can send us a question in the comments. This is on Facebook and YouTube at the moment, and anybody can pop on.
Yeah.
Let me put the link.
And don't be afraid to ask any questions, because I think if any of you have been watching this for a while, you'll know that from my standpoint, I like to make sure that I know a lot more about my client's business. And that's important, because the better you understand your client's business, the better you understand how you can position yourself to sell to your clients. For example, when you're dealing with realtors and a realtor's like, oh, I don't know how to do this. And you already know, like, you walk into a house, it's empty, it's dirty, it's not that great. You can, if you know that their pain point is that it's not that great a looking house, it's vacant, it's empty, it's ugly, and you have the solutions for that, then great, you can be that much better. So for example, if you know how to do staging, or if you know how to take it so that you know how to take the photo so that you can then later virtually stage it, then you can do that as well and offer that as a service. And realtors are always blown away by this, where they're like, oh, I thought this was going to be a dog of a listing, and now you're telling me that I can virtually stage it for less than actually staging it and make it look fantastic. Great, let's do it. Right? So know their business and you'll do better. If you want a recommendation for virtual staging, there's a great site called virtualstagingusa.com. Go there, try them out. Great products there.
I've been noticing there are quite a few virtual staging services now. There's because there will always be people that are offering to do your editing for you. Maybe we should do a talk about that sometime, where if you don't do your own editing, you can send it out. It can be sent out overseas.
Yeah.
Now I think virtual staging is becoming pretty common in that as well.
It is. And, we've been approached by several different, I think on a weekly basis, we get around 5 or 6 people saying, hey, we can do your editing and your virtual staging for you. The only thing is, once we start looking at quality, and not only quality of the staging, but the quality of the customer service and how well they're actually being responsive and how consistent they're being with their products, we're finding that 98% of those people are just garbage. And so we get those emails and we're like, nah, screw it. I don't want to have to go through this. And that's why with Virtual Staging USA, it's nice because it's consistent. So
it seems that you're risking that let's not even talk about quality, just the style and just the kind of output that you want. And does it stick with your style or not?
Well,
and I'm guessing a lot of new people will take on that style of the editor.
Exactly. And the other thing is this: consistency. So for example, if you're running a business and you tell your clients, yeah, I'll have it back to you in 48 hours. If your supplier can't be consistently there for you for 24, you're screwed.
You're adding the layer.
Yeah. So there's a whole lot more that goes into it. And it's not just what is the final product. It's all about the customer service, all about the experience of doing the business. So
let me I put down for the subject to start with, that we can talk a little bit about tone mapping versus fusion. So it's a little bit of a technical thing, but for people, when I answer questions about HDR, it comes up, especially with real estate. And so I thought I would do a quick little comparison on a real estate. Let's see, let me share this screen here.
That'd be great.
Okay. Oh, we got the whole screen, huh? Let's try it like that, maybe. This is just the Photomatix window. I just grabbed some images. And any chance, well, I'm sorry, make it full because it's already not the highest of resolutions. I just dragged some images into Photomatix that you see in a second, and I just, any chance I get, want to make a couple of points. This, after you drag images in, you'll get a window that's asking about the what's called merge option. So it's before doing it's to create excuse me, it's to create the combined image, not to edit it yet. So it's asking about aligning them, which means if there's movement of the camera, so if you were hand holding it, you could use that. And it asks about ghosts. That means things moving within the image that you can't control. If that's the case, then you can use those options. But for real estate, those things are not usually needed because of tripod, and there's probably nothing moving in there.
Yes.
So
well, Ron, I'm going to say one thing. We did have an issue with one of my photographers, and we had to actually put the align image on. And the reason why, they had their camera on a tripod with the image stabilization of the lens on. And so, the first shutter goes down, it shakes the camera just a bit. So the second one, the image stabilizer moves it. And then the third one is back to normal. And so we had misaligned images, right? Because it was on a tripod with image stabilization.
It's the revenge of revenge of stabilization.
Yeah.
Those are, I realize I glossed by those things, but yeah, there are things to consider. If you're doing these things, you're a professional photographer and you're going to need to know or learn them. But you're right. It can be fine to use alignment. There's even a tripod setting, so you can click alignment, check the fact that, select the fact that you did shoot on a tripod, and that will that just means it's looking for the types of shifts that can happen when it's on a tripod compared to the kinds of shifting around that a handheld camera can do. And it's not a bad idea just to go ahead and apply tripod alignment, just in case you get some tiny little differences. No problem. I'm just I don't really think I need it, but if I were on like a quickie tripod or something, maybe I would, but that's a whole other thing. So this is just a kind of really simple living room. I think you come across a lot where there's a window there, and you can't really see a view, but you can tell that there are trees out there, and that's nice. So you can kind of tell it's not on the first story, or this one's actually on a hill. But there are, let's see, which way did I want to go? Oh, I wanted to point out that you can choose real estate as above the presets here for presets that are typically pretty good for real estate. And as always, the presets are presets. They're not intended to be good for every situation. Otherwise, there'd only be one preset, right? But you want to get pretty close with the preset to the kind of the look and style that you're looking for. And these are a bit similar because, again, they're intended for this. I like to go pretty directly to interior 2 if there's a window, because, and this is what I wanted to bring up, where if you're looking in Photomatix Pro, you can see on the top left above the sliders, which most people don't need to pay too much attention to, but this is where it kind of reveals which engine or algorithm, is that the right word? Okay, I'm a photographer, not a software developer. So these are where you can see now. I think on the screen share, I don't know if you'll be able to read them, but they have things like, there are 4 different kinds of tone mapping, and now tone mapping is a kind of a more mathematical way of doing this. This is where you have, if you've heard about HDR, it's come to have a lot of meanings. What it really means is it's a 32-bit file that has lighting information in it of all luminance levels that were captured. So it's taken all of those images that you shot, and I shot in this case, and it put them all together so that all of the luminance is there, even if it can't be displayed on a normal paper or monitor or camera back. It can't be displayed, but it's all there. So the process of tone mapping is to squash all that into a visible image. How's that for a quickie explanation?
I think that was a pretty good explanation.
So that's called tone mapping. Now there are four in Photomatix Pro. There are four different ways of tone mapping, and they all have their pros and cons, like everything. I didn't want to get too much comparing each one of those. The best way to do that is to go over here and choose the different kinds, like contrast optimizer, and it'll show you presets just for that one. That's kind of a epic looking lighting situation.
Nice
there, right?
and moody there.
Yeah, moody one, right? But again, it's going to depend on, and that's just the preset. There's a lot of changes, obviously, we can do. But down here, there's Fusion Natural. Now, Fusion, there are two kinds that are important, really. Fusion Natural and Fusion Interior. So Fusion is a more simple process. It's much like when we have historically layered our images in Photoshop, done a bunch of masking and painting on the masks, so you reveal and hide the parts, each part of the image, and finding it's much like that kind of a process. It's taking the actual photos and looking for the middle, the pixel, each pixel's middle value, right? So it's just it's doing one of those layering things in kind of an automatic way. Like when I started using Photomatix, I kind of thought that's what they were intending with the name, with the Matix part, a little bit of automaticness. This is what I had in my brain. I don't think it was really true, but it's kind of an automatic way of doing the things that we worked so hard to do, or we did when before all this was possible. We had to composite manually and everything. So
yeah, like these here, it essentially works the same way as like focus stacking does, where it'll just take that
you would
portion
think
of the image that is the right amount. A little bit more complex on the tonal side, I guess.
I could make a quick side tangent that at Photomatix, kind of the team email box, we've had quite a few requests to add focus stacking.
Yeah.
And the engineers said, "Well, that sounds like a pretty good idea. You know, we stack photos. Let's see if we can add that." And they're like, "Oh my God, it's completely different technology." And that was so. If anybody's thinking about that, there are specialty apps for HDR, specialty apps for focus stacking, and there's a reason that they're specialized. Same thing with stitching. Like a stitching app is just not as good as the other things, and vice versa. All right, so to finish that thing about Fusion is one reason I like to point it out is that Fusion tends to be really good for just easily getting realistic results, as compared to details enhancers known for being easy to get fake results. Now, like you can get a very here's a insider tip though. Details enhancer is the best one at keeping all of the information from light to dark, and the result though is a flat image. And so if you embrace that and get a very flat image, it's ready to go for taking a few minutes and really deciding where you want to add contrast and add what you want for a deliberately controlled kind of result. So if you're using it for that purpose, that can be really helpful. Okay, but back to Fusion. I kind of recommend real estate photographers start there, because it's just right away such good realistic results. So just recommendations to start with Interior and Interior 2 as the presets, and then just tweak the areas that you want to tweak. And a lot of times you can be right there quickly.
It's nice. The Interior 2 is the base for most of our presets as well, and quite frankly, it's 90% there. It really is.
For most of the time, it really is, and it also does what I was mentioning about getting a well, I mean, it's not a flat image so much. It's really usually gets very, very close, but you still can do. Still, what I like to do is on those jobs where I can spend just a couple minutes on each image. I like to do that, get that Interior 2 usually result, or I do a couple of tweaks with it, usually just with brightness, and then I still go ahead and add contrast to certain areas, and I do that in post-processing. So just a couple of kind of quick recommendations. anything else I should hit while I've got this open?
No, I think you got it there. Actually, you know what? It might not be a bad idea to show people how to save their preset once they've done that.
Oh, sure. So let's make something off the wall. Again, just because we're here, you have real estate business insider Rob, you have Photomatix insider Ron. We need nicknames, buddy. And
we're just the autocorrect of the other.
Exactly. there are stories about being called Rob and stories about being called Ron. Let's go to the tone balancer method just for fun to do something different. So now we've got a little bit more depth and shadows in the image. This is just with Realistic 2, it's called as a preset. But let's just pop up the brightness. It is real estate. Usually you want bright, yeah? Let's pop up the temperature just a little again. It's real estate. With this one, and please take anybody watching, please take as a tip that I don't have automatically results for each one. I do see how the settings impact the image and then choose it from there. Brightness boost isn't really impacting that image. Okay, so I made a few changes, and down here at the bottom left, and I'm going to read everything because I think it's pretty low res, I believe, for if you're watching, especially if you're on a phone or something. But I can pop up this menu down here. It's a preset pop-up menu, and I can just go save preset right here. If there are details you can read down here in the save box, but if I save it to like I can put it in interiors. Let's call it, let's make it some kind of easier to remember live demo. If I save it there, it'll be available to me for future ones. And I can go into my presets over here, and I have a lot of them. It usually won't take this long to load, but I have one guy on the team, he made a pack, and it was like, I don't know how many hundreds of presets, but I shouldn't have imported them all. There's an option to import presets up here, though.
And the nice thing about those presets is that if you've got a look that you really like, then when you do an entire house, then you can batch all the images at once and use that one preset that you've done, and it'll go through everything. So
exactly.
Your workflow just becomes super, super quick.
Exactly. In fact, here are presets on it that I had put under interiors before, and I'm pretty sure that's what I did. Is what Rob said is I saved the preset here, and then I went ahead and used the batch mode, and I applied it to whole groups. So like here was I called Foggy Merced, so that would have been I remember that job. It's what's the name again? There's a big apartment complex in San Francisco. It was in a foggy time, so you can see, and like look how flat that is. Again, every situation is different, right? But that worked for me in that particular case. So there's another, Park Merced, that's what it's called. So and here's the one that I just saved here called Live Demo. So you'll be able to access that in batch processing too, which is maybe something we can talk about for another time. Just to complete the process on a single image, let's go ahead and do that. I can click down here, next finish, let that do its thing. We're using the tone balancer one, which is, it's pretty powerful engine method, and it does take a little bit to process. Oh, let me give a quick tip, by the way. Since we started doing these live demos, my MacBook Pro is working so hard. I mean, the fan's running hard. It's really hot, and I just if I could, what I've done is I got out the Bluetooth keyboard. I put the Mac up on a little bit so air could get underneath and breathe a little better. It's working much better. It works so hard to run a demo and run the screen share and run all this stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, I started doing that. Like, those magic bags that you can heat up or cool down?
You mean like putting gloves and stuff?
No, not those. Yeah, well, these are the ones where like it's a bag of beans essentially, and you put them into your freezer, and then you can put it onto anytime
Therapeutic.
Yeah. Or you could pop it in the microwave. Well, I've taken one of those, and we were exporting 4K video, and doing a lot of other work on the computer, and it just started burning up. So we took a bunch of those, put it under there, put an ice pack under it, and it works a whole lot better.
That's a great idea. I've got some of those somewhere.
Right. So when you got when you got the machine going, it'll definitely help.
Can anybody let us know? Are we live on Facebook? I got a little thing here. It says an error has occurred. Was the broadcast deleted on Facebook?
Ooh.
Can anybody confirm that you're watching us live on Facebook?
Oh, let me go see.
Little inception here if I try to run it at the same time.
Well, considering that I've got two different browsers going here. No, we're still live.
I think we're good. Okay.
All right. Yeah, it's strange. I can see myself there. This is great.
Yeah. So, yep. James says I'm here. Yep. A couple. We have some commenters saying, "Yep." Okay. Thanks. I've never seen this before. Then
Awesome.
All right. Let's see. Let's get some. Who has questions? I've got some people watching, but we're not getting.
Yeah. Any questions so far? No. Pretty simple.
Again, I can continue. I'm hitting some of my favorite questions that I typically would talk about if somebody just asks me to show something about HDR. Whereas this is pretty much the kinds of things I like to talk about. After I click that next finish, and it processes the full size image, because what we had been looking at before was a preview, so that it doesn't take forever. And then at the end here, if you are, depending on the kinds of post-processing you do, like if you're a Lightroom user, you'd probably do this in Lightroom, but if you're not, you can do the necessary post-processing in Photomatix, like straightening. So if your vertical lines were off, like if you shot it like that, then you could fix the verticals and horizontals and rotation. You can crop with some presets, and there's presets that apply usually to MLS. One thing I've learned is that MLS is different in just about every area, but 4:3 typically, right?
Yeah.
And sharpening contrast. Another tip is when the HDR process is done, its job, like I mentioned before, is taking a scene that has huge contrast in luminance levels and reducing that contrast. So tone mapping is kind of like contrast reduction. So if you go really far, like I was mentioning before, like making that flat image, that's really what we're talking about, right? Is a lack of contrast. So you can bring some of that back in this.
That's a nice looking image now.
Not bad. This looks like a Calgary Photos kind of style, where it's a little bit bright out the window.
Yeah, you got the one stop brighter in the windows, which is what we always like.
Yeah, I really think I've worked really hard over the years to get the perfect outside view on a lot of shots, especially in panoramas, because we're talking, at best, we're talking about hotels that really want to show that and everything. But for real estate, I think it's a mistake to really go so far that it's so dark outside. But again, just opinion. But you can do that. It's just that,
yeah.
Sometimes I think it makes the overall image better this way. Edward asks, hey Carl, hang on a second. I'll pop you on in a second. Stand by a second. Edward says, do you guys watch interiors?
Here, let's pop up the comment
yeah,
there.
that's right. Do you watch interiors and exteriors separately? Personally,
it probably means batch. Yeah. Do you batch the interiors and exteriors separately? Yes and no. I do. So for us at Calgary Photos, we do have two different presets, one for interiors, one for exteriors, and then one for twilight as well. The exterior one is exteriors change, whether it's a cloudy day, whether it's a sunny day, whether it's rain, snow. And so your dynamic range of your actual scene changes quite a lot more with your exteriors than it would typically with your interiors. And so because of that, one of the things that we do is we do have separate exterior ones in case the standard one doesn't work for all of it. And that'll happen, for example, if you're on a nice sunny day, but you're right in the morning and the sun's right behind that house, and you need to get that. Plus, you want to get the nice sun flare and the blue sky with the house. yeah, there's so much more range there. So we do have to use a different preset for that. But for the most part, yeah, if sun's right above or a cloudy day, we can use the same interior and presets as well.
I think as a place to start, rule of thumb that always changes is the natural preset is a good place to start, just to get people going in case that's. But you got to find your own. You got to find your own thing that works for you because your shooting style is different. What you want, your expectations, what your client's expectations. You always have to find your own. But those are good places to start. All right, and what he's doing is the realistic preset. I think is another great place to start and see where you're at. Let's bring on Carl is on the line. Hey,
Oh,
Hey,
hello,
Carl.
Carl. Hi
Well,
there.
hello. This is cool.
Isn't
I,
that cool?
I,
I always say it's most fun with three people on at a time, and you
I,
can do real time live back and forth questions and yeah.
sorry, my lighting isn't very good here. I need to get a brighter bulb, but,
Don't
um,
worry, Rob and I have been obsessing about these things behind like hey, just let me I don't know if you're maybe you have time, but I should just mention I borrowed that camera to try out an SLR. To borrow a neighbor's Canon, and I look pixely today, so maybe next time we'll see. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, Carl, what's up? Where you coming from in the dark?
well, I use Photomatix as in my uh, workflow, and I use a bracketed image that I use natural for outside, I believe, and inside I use the interior too. And then I take a flash frame, multiple strobes, lighting up back rooms and so on. And I really I kind of mute the flash by combining that bracketed thing.
Yeah.
But I can't get a realistic looking bracketed shot. Interior 2 is not all that good. I mean, it's as good as I found. And I'm kind of wondering, are there, I don't know how to create a predefine of some sort to make it look more natural so I can blend them together with a better look.
Well, I'd go back to I always say that for better and for worse, every scene is going to be different. But the best the way I would go about it to get and it's on my list to explore adding a lot more do a fused slash HDR shot and add in deliberate lighting just to get some more pop here and there. And so I think I'm interested in doing what you're doing, and I know a lot of people do that. A lot of Photomatix users do that. So I think the goal is to get a very evenly lit, by itself boring result that you're going to add in certain lighting to, right? And so I think using fusion, just using the natural preset is often a good way to go. Just natural, because it just brings it to be even.
Yeah.
The interior too will pay more attention to the window if there's one, and bring that down. So I think you got a good start there. But then, like I was mentioning before, you could also do a very even, flat with details enhancer, which
I
would
I need to explore that.
yeah.
Yeah.
The benefit, I think one of the benefits with doing bracketing in HDR and Fusion compared to doing all with lighting is that it's easier to manage. You don't have to really mount managing shadows created by the lights, and so you can get that really even image to start with, and then if you do add the lighting for your own vision, yeah, like to highlight certain areas, like Rob's demo from last week was they had some light that kind of appeared to
Oh,
be natural, but you were adding in with some depth coming from one side,
did
and that's a
did
good example
you?
of that kind
We didn't actually show that. I just texted that to you.
of. Oops. No,
Here.
I think we did. Well, if
Yeah,
you have it,
yeah,
show it.
yeah. You know what?
Maybe.
I actually had that prepared.
Oh, sweet.
Strangely enough.
But Carl, you're what you're asking is actually something that phone's ringing. It's actually something that we all deal with. Is getting. I'm turning on my do not disturb. That's something we're all working with as photographers, is to get that right look. And I always think it's unless you're doing that one size fits all result, it's not. I wouldn't try to get the final result with just one preset. If anything, you're gonna need to make your own settings, and I really feel like some post processing is always needed, whether that's right there in finishing
definitely.
touch or not.
And sometimes I think my process is too complicated, doing brackets and multiple flashes and processing that, and starting with raw and
Sounds like photography to me.
So,
I'll pop in a real quick. Hang on, just 1 second, Rob. With real estate and using Fusion, especially, you can benefit from converting from RAW to TIFF or JPEG, or even just shooting in JPEG if you can manage the white balance. That would be the only issue, because a good RAW conversion is a really powerful step to great real estate photography. So,
I don't mind shooting in raw. I mean, it helps with that color balance, especially bathrooms and anytime you have tungsten or something like that. I can come up with a fairly good base, but the yellows and oranges and reds really seem to compound on each other. And where you get like maple cabinets, they look like an orange tree, and I'm trying to get away from that because I have to do so much post-processing.
I think Rob has some advice for you.
Oh, please.
And
definitely.
And this is actually not the one I was thinking of, but
no, not this one. Okay, so what time of day do you think this was shot?
It looks like night, but I don't know.
Could have been any time. I mean,
could have been any time, yeah.
So then we do that.
Oh, look at that.
Now you can see the natural light coming in, right?
Here's the thing. Those are off of the same image.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that I find about photography is that you can do whatever you want. And the key is going to be more about, do you know what you want your final image to look like? And once you have that, then it's easy to take a flat image and go and make it into a night shot, or make it into a twilight or a daytime shot, and have a different feel for both.
Do you guys think that I'm forming the question in my head, as somebody that shot interiors a lot, I've always been the one that works with the situation, and I feel like I get what I want out of the situation. But there's the other side, is to take control of the situation and light that sucker. And we're talking about combining the two. We're talking about serious photography here. So we have in real estate. I'm not making fun of anybody. You got a lot of people. There are a lot of fantastic real estate photographers out there that started a business and decided on that, and learned photography once they went into it, right? So they're not coming from the photography background. And so they're going to probably not add in lighting for a little, at least at the beginning, right?
Right.
And so you're talking about taking two kinds and combining it. And again, as I say so often, real estate photography does not get enough respect.
So we don't get enough respect. So for me, this shot was an interesting one, because this is the shot. These two shots are what we shot this at 10 o'clock in the morning. So it was daytime. But my client didn't know what kind of marketing that they were going to do, or the messaging that they were going to do with their advertising. So are you highlighting more of a nighttime feel, like welcome home after a hard day's work kind of thing? Or is it hey, wake up on a Saturday morning and get energized in your own kitchen and go out and go for a jog kind of thing? So if you don't know what the messaging is, you really don't know how to shoot it. And the thing that I found with my clients is that, because I know that they don't always have all those answers right away, we shoot it completely flat. We've got all the lighting detail that I can make it look like this, or the nighttime one, pretty much at a flick of a layer. And that is just coming from more of, do I know what the realtor wants, or do I know what in this case, this is a fabulous new condo building that's coming up in Calgary. And, it's all about, let's try and figure out what the client wants. Let's be in their shoes. Let's understand their business. But Carl, going back to your question, and Karen, you too, I'm glad that you have this, how do we control all the colors and stuff?
Yeah.
And The interesting thing about let's look at the pros and cons of HDR and Flash. HDR is great because it shows you what the natural light looks like. Flash is great because you get to see all the colors. Now here's a tip: combine them. Okay, so if you got them, why not take a flash layer, and if you got an HDR layer in Lightroom, you can have them so they're side by side, and you go open as layers in Photoshop.
Yep.
You can then take that flash layer, put it on top of your HDR layer, and just change it to color. And as soon as you do that, you're going to get all that color from your flash layer, and your HDR layer is going to show how the ambient light actually looks. And now you've got something like this where you'll notice all my lights are white. Of course they're not white, right? But what I did was I lit this entire place up so that we just got all the nice colors of everything lit with the flash, and then we overlaid that onto an HDR layer, changed the color, changed it so that my flash layer was now my color layer, and now we've got perfect color, perfect lighting.
Yeah, I think
The only thing is,
go ahead, sorry.
the only thing is, if, for example, what if I took my flash and say I had did this with on-camera flash and I just shot it straight up? You would get two things. You would first get the shadows coming off of those hanging lights. You would see that in the background. You would also see some shadows that don't make sense coming off of the underside of the lip of the stools there, and so you would have to correct for that. Or what you would do is you would use more of a diffuse light and light everything so that it's pretty much blanketed with just flash light and creating no shadows. So you have a shadowless image that just has the proper color for every single part of your image, and then you overlay that.
Well, I'm going to have to learn how to do that.
Carl, I see the wheels turning in your head there. It's like, okay, I get it.
Well, you have the advantage, the disadvantage to these interior shots is you have different light sources, so there's different colors all over. And with a flash, well, for one thing, it's usually the same as the daytime. Even that depends if they're what the daytime looks like, but usually that's pretty close. And but the color temperature of that flash, and your camera knows it, so you're able to get the right colors. And so that's one of those really big advantages to, even if you're not lighting it for style or lighting it for for controlling the light and shadow of the space. Even if you're not lighting it for that reason, you can light it for color. And I think that's a really great tip.
Or if you wanted to, if you're afraid of doing that, you can also try this. Take a shot of a place, windows wide open, take one shot with the lights on, and then take one shot with the lights off. Take the one with the lights off, because of course all that color is going to be daytime balanced. Put it on top of the one with the lights on, and change the first one to be just your color layer.
And that's the step that I don't know how to do.
Outside the box, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. That's really good info. I hadn't even considered doing that. But, what I'm doing is not nearly that advanced. It's taking one HDR image and blending it with a multiply lit flash image to get the color good, but yet control the shadows. And what I do is I blend the two, not with a brush all over the place. Too much time doing that. I just reduce the opacity on one or the other and come to a midpoint that looks realistic to me or close to it. But your way sounds amazing. I need to learn how to do just a color layer and so on. Are there instructions where I can find this?
Here, you know what I'm going to do?
Blend modes is the way to look is learn about the blend modes is really helpful.
You know what? No, I'm going to help. I'm going to help there. Just give me a quick sec. Share the screen. Color, yes, Karen, color layer. I'll show you in just a sec.
I think it's
Give
coming.
me a sec. All right. So I'm
I
going to
feel
open
it.
this here. All right. So can you see that? Good.
Yeah.
All right. So this is just regular HDR, right? It looks
Yeah.
pretty HDR. You got your oranges. You've got your
Yeah.
God. Everything is horrible. Then I've got. Why is this? There we go. Okay. So there's my flash layer. Okay, you'll notice I've got a flash in the bathroom there. I've got a flash over my head. I got a flash somewhere on the right here. I take that. Okay, colors on top. Okay, it's right here. If you got it to normal, that's what it looks like here.
It's hard to read on there, so you got to kind of tell
Yeah,
us
so
the words.
let me see if I can do this even better.
I can make it a tiny bit bigger, getting us off there.
No, sorry, my zoom's not working the way that it usually does. Let's see now. What was this shortcut key? I can't figure it out. Unfortunately, it's down here. If you look at your layers, go into your layers, and then there's go into your blend mode, and you can go from normal all the way down to the bottom, and there is one that says color. Change that to your color. Now I'm just going to add a brightness contrast layer here, and increase the contrast, and really just bring that down to around here. Now, one of the things that I find is that sometimes the color is just a little bit too much. So I'll change it up to where I think it feels natural. And strangely enough, 92 is my favorite. So there, put the brightness, and then you can start playing with curves and
let me
really make it.
Let me ask a question I think that a lot of us have is for you.
Yeah.
When you're getting that flash layer, how even do you need to cover the scene? Like do you need to get that flash to cover all of the areas, or is there just certain areas that can be used for reference? Or
well, let's take a look. This is what my flash layer looks like right now. So you see, I've got it fairly even, but if you think about color, if you look up here, it's not brown, it's white. Because of the reflection.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Right. So it's not 100%. If I actually wanted to make this 100%, I probably should have taken my flash down a bit on the center here just to get the color there. The interesting thing is, you can also color this scene. So, for example, if I wanted to, I'm going to make this my color layer again. Where is it? Color. There. Yeah, watch this. If I wanted to, I take my brush, I take this blue. Let's do a color replacement tool. We'll take that color and we'll make it blue. You can take your color replacement tool and start replacing the color on your color layer and change it, because it's just changing the color, right?
Right.
And there's just so many things that you can do with a color layer. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about Photoshop, is that you can be very, very creative into what you want to do. Of course, now my edges are all over the place, but same idea. We can just color something that is brown into a blue, because now all we're doing is we're taking a color layer and doing that. So I'm just going to get rid of this before I save it accidentally.
So what I would do, it's been some time since I went this route, but what I would do would be to just light a decent sized gray card and use that as the reference for the whole thing. And it's not perfect either, but as I always say, I wish there was some one size fits all holy grail way of processing these things, but they're getting a reference for the right colors that's what we're trying to do there. And another way to do that is you can go off different direction and use a different white balance for every one of the bracketed source images, and that also brings it closer together. So so many things.
So many tricks that are out there. That's fantastic. Like, so what I just did here was I made a mask on top of my color layer. Of course, my color layer is changing the color of whatever's underneath it. Okay, so here I've got my black brush. I'm going to go onto the mask there, and then black out the lamps there because I actually want them to look orange because they're Edison lights. Right? There's so much, like that was fairly easy to do to bring that contrast back. And once this is all saved, then you can do a whole lot more editing of it in Lightroom to make it look better.
Cool.
All right. So that is my tip of the day, I guess.
I think I'll need to make this the thumbnail for the video.
To show that I can't correct my verticals on camera.
No, because Karen says you guys are awesome.
Good. Well, Karen, I'm glad that you found out what the color layer is, and I hope that helps you out. That just doing that changed our entire workflow back in 2013 when we first started doing that.
Yeah, before I started.
Yeah.
Where are you, Carl? Are you in?
Oh, I'm in Atlanta.
Okay, good. I was about to say, are you next door? Are you going to be competing against me and doing better work than me now?
You're in? Is it Canada?
Yeah, we're in Calgary,
Okay.
Alberta.
Yeah. Where is our Canadian contingent this week?
We usually have
almost
a
everyone
bunch of
watching is
Canadians.
saying they're coming in from Canada, and not too
No
many.
Canadians
Not too many in the U.S. Karen,
What's going on?
Karen, where are you from? You were in the East as well, right? I remember her being on before.
Yeah, you can tell now that everything is opening up here in Canada because everybody is probably back to work and not on this, watching this. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, a lot of people are back to work. I've been noticing like people that have done this with us is one measure, and also just people that don't. Yeah, and I'm getting calls again finally now too, and so yeah, I'm really glad people are getting back to work that weren't. Some of the people that we know have been super busy through the whole quarantine time. So,
Oh God, yeah. Have we ever?
Ryan likes the stuff he's getting. Oh, he says, how many flashes did you use?
Okay, so Ryan, standard kit for us, we have for me, I've got a Canon 5 DSR. I put a radio trigger on top of my Canon, and I've got five flashes in my bag. I carry around 3 usually. They're all the Godox ones. I'll show you.
I've got one.
Yeah, so we've got
almost within reach.
These Godox ones. And the reason I love these is because they're cheap as all three. They're very cheap. And the nice thing about these is that
try the little bit bigger one.
Yes, we've got the A2. What is it? A200.
Yeah. Well, these are these have the. So, if anybody's shopping for these, this one is called Evolve. I think is that what it says.
Yeah,
it's all the
not
same
Godox.
thing. Flashpoint, Godox, and some other names are all the same equipment with different names on it, made by the same place.
Exactly. And here's the thing that we found from my company is that this thing here, I don't know how much this is going to cost. Yes, Karen, you're more than welcome to.
I was gonna ask about modifiers, Rob.
Oh, modifiers. Yeah. Okay, so with this, I don't know how much these are in the States. I think they must be like 150 bucks.
At the most, yeah.
Yeah, they're dirt cheap. So now get this. We used to be part of Canon CPS, and that's Canon Professional Services. You pay $400 a year, and they give you a really minuscule discount on buying pro Canon gear. And that discount does not apply to any other bodies. It doesn't apply to any of the regular series lenses, and you get a minuscule discount on your L series lenses. But the thing that is great, that was good about it, was that they would pay for your shipping to ship back and forth your products once they to get fixed, and then they give you a discount on fixing it. And so I used to send out, like I've got 7 guys that are out there shooting all the time, 7, and they each got around 3 to 5 of these. So we go through flashes quite regularly. People drop them, people step on them, people knock them off of counters. It's horrible. And some of my guys actually forget them. So once that
you mean forget them at the property?
Yeah, and you just can't find them, and you just don't know where they are anymore. And so what happened was that, once you break a Canon one and you send it in to get fixed, it cost us $150 to get it fixed.
Yeah.
And so
that's the business
why
plan
wouldn't
for
I just
those
get a new
Godox.
one?
Yep, that's the business plan for them.
So the only thing I don't like about them is that they have a proprietary battery. And the problem with these proprietary batteries is if you're on a shoot and all of a sudden you run out, you can't drive over to the 7-Eleven across the street and get a bunch of double A's.
Yeah.
And that's my only complaint about them so far.
They do work. They last amazingly well. I did a portrait. Carl, you've gone really blurry. You've gone really blurry, man. We can't see you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. That's one of the things is your backup can be a non-Godox. That's one really good idea. But they last so long. I did an all-day portrait thing, like we're shooting all day, and those 8200s lasted the whole time. And I've been really amazed. Ryan, where in California are you? Wait, Daniel just chimed in, Pro Photo. In other words, I can pay for it.
Well,
I mean, if you want to go out and pay for Pro Photo, then
go ahead.
I'm also thinking this might just be that I'm not in the position to go out and buy a whole Pro Photo set, and so maybe I'm just justifying it to myself. But I find it kind of easier and better to do what Rob said and just replace the darn thing than deal with it all. I can order it from Adorama or whatever and have it in a day compared to dealing. So I'm not sure. And I realize it's going really off the rails to just not worry about getting them fixed. But I don't know about you guys. Do you find it difficult to deal with? Like, if I get something fixed with Nikon, oh my gosh, it takes forever and it's not cheap. And Carl, you're blurry. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to chime in that I agree completely with the Adorama Flashpoint or Godox. I even use the AA kind, the cheapest you can get. It's about $65 for one of these.
Yeah. You get them used. I have some used flashes for like $20. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we were buying used Canon flashes and we just break them and then send them off to get fixed.
And then, of course, if anybody just to ask, I just like to answer the questions that are on people's minds. I think is you set them up in so-called slave mode and they just fire when they see another flash, so you don't have to worry about. It's not as you can't control it from the camera control and all that, but it's a backup. So if you I have some $20 ones around here somewhere, and I can set it up, set it on the power I want, set it to slave mode, and it just fires when it sees other flashes fire. So it's just a great backup to have.
Yeah. No, and it works out really well. And if you know how to use flashes and you can set your shutter speed down to 1/100th of a second. We've done this where we've got a whole bunch of old flashes, and what we did was there's these what are they called? They're just flash sensors, and you put them on the bottom of your shoe, and it looks like a little cube with a circle on it. Mm-hmm. And once it sees a flash, it'll flash. And so what you do is you daisy chain them through. And
somewhere I have, that's a good point.
Right? Like
there are a lot of
there are a lot of pretty good solutions. And then now they've got radio, so it's great.
But there's nothing like on Pro Photo and now on Godox to be able to just control it right there on top of your camera. Especially when you get comfortable with the manual controls, it's such a wonderful feeling to just be able to make now you do look like you're if you're shooting. Well, we're getting off the rails. This is it's supposed to be about real estate photography and HDR, and we're talking about portraits and lighting. But I don't like to keep looking down at my camera to make changes, but it's amazing to be able to do that.
Yeah, like we've got one of these, which is just, we can control up to 10. Let's see now. We can control up to 5 different groups on 3 different channels, and it's fantastic. This is a Godox trigger.
Yep.
And so we do this where sometimes we'll do it where we just set up flashes in a house, and then we'll go in and say, okay, turn on group A, because we know group A is in the main floor. Okay, go up to the second floor, turn on group B, shoot the second floor. You're done, you're out.
Yeah.
Is that what you would term light farming?
Light farming.
Yes. I was just wondering, I've heard the term.
I haven't heard that.
Well, it was mentioned at PFRE in one of the seminars, but I was just wondering if you came up with that concept separately from the other guy. Obviously, yeah, that's same deal. Pretty cool.
It's funny how a lot of people come up with the same solutions, right? For because it makes a lot of sense. I just want to mention we have someone from Canada, Carrie.
Yes, thank you, Carrie, for joining us here. But yeah, no, I haven't been on PFRE for ages.
Ryan mentioned. Did Ryan? Is that right? Newer brand or newer? Maybe there's another brand that's selling the same. Again, those Godox ones. I think it must have been the first mover calling them Godox, but there are several that are just the same. I got a whole bunch of Flashpoint, which is the same. Yes. Huge deal for these packages from Adorama last year. I got a whole bunch of them, and it was kind of hurt. It was a few $1,000, but I got like everything. So I could have gotten one and a half. I could have gotten one Profoto light with all the fixins for that. And so, anyway,
and that's exactly like I look at these, and I'm one of those people that I'm very conscious about how much about all the consumerism that's going on out there, right? Like, let's face it, we're in a disposable world right now where everything, it's like, oh, I got a hole in this. Oh, just replace it with another one. I got that. Oh, just replace it with another one. And we just keep on buying and accumulating and making more garbage.
Go back and watch Fight Club. It predicted the future.
Right. So, whenever we do have one of these breaks, one of the nice things about it is that this isn't that complex of an actual product. You can actually take this apart, keep it for the parts, and then rebuild them once they start breaking. And that's, we do that with almost anything. We want to repurpose everything because we don't want to be keeping putting stuff in the landfill and making more garbage out there because.
Interesting. I'm going to totally not take mine apart in the near future, but that's in fact
exactly.
Just when they break, when they break, take them apart.
Ryan's, and then when you order new ones, you have backup batteries. So Ryan said, this is a good question I wanted to touch on. Do flashes pretty much have the same color temperature? Pretty much is the great answer is pretty much. And
it's 98, 99% there.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things about getting, if you can go Profoto. I was kind of poo-pooing it, but they're more consistent. Where the Godox and Flashpoint and stuff, they're going to be, it's just not the best quality stuff where the Profoto is. But again, it's never been anything I've noticed so far. And we're talking about, sorry about this, we're talking about real estate photography here, people. We don't have a sticker price that lets us go out and justify all the best stuff for most people. Okay, you get what I'm saying. So, but it's an important thing. And if you do notice that, you might notice that maybe one of your lights would have a significant difference. If it's noticeable, that's something to send it back for. Mm-hmm. And you guys got any? Rob, you're probably technically better about this. I don't know if you have any other recommendations for it, but
you know what? No, if I find that one of my flashes doesn't work very well, I give it 2 hits here and 1 hit here, and then see if it works.
Okay, strobe lighting live where we have today. Daniel, hi Daniel. Daniel, no, I did see you earlier.
Can you use a trigger with different kinds of flashes? So. If they're of the same company.
If it's Godox and Flashpoint, yes.
Yeah. And obviously,
Pocket Wizards.
Pocket Wizards. You can use Pocket Wizards on all different types of flashes, but you still have to have Pocket Wizards connected to all of them. The nice thing about the Godox, so we shoot on a Fuji system and we also shoot on Canon. And so I've got 2 of these that are Fuji and 4 of these that are Canon in my bag. I can trigger them all with this, regardless if the flash is a Fuji or a Canon. The software inside of it will decide whether you're a Fuji or a Canon once it hears gets the signal from this. It's really cool.
Wait a second. Stop the presses.
Yes.
Does it? I thought when I chose that I got my Godox gear for Canon. No, I got mine for Nikon. Whatever you choose, which one you get it for. I thought I was only choosing that for TTL purposes.
No,
which is the auto. Just again, sorry, which is through the lens automatic flashing, which is specific to the camera maker. I thought that was it, but you're saying I can take my old, by the way, like $900 strobe flashes, way overpriced Nikon stuff, and control it with the Godox.
Well, if they're the Godox ones, yeah, you just need the Godox trigger. That is meant so you need a Nikon Godox trigger, but you can then trigger any Godox flash regardless of what it was made for.
Mind blown. I just want to say I learned tons from Moroto.com.
So here's the thing: if you're shooting something like a wedding or an event, or you have if you have a event where you got like different photo booths, it doesn't matter if some guy's shooting with a Sony, some guy's shooting with a Nikon, somebody's shooting with a Fuji or a Canon, they can trigger it all. So
you're talking about the camera type.
Yeah.
That we know because it's the remote that's attached to your camera that's doing the firing, not the camera. But I didn't realize that I could control with the Godox. Never mind. I don't have to repeat it. I'm just again mind blown, and I'm taking up. Ryan confirms that it is called Neewer. Okay. Oh, and we know Ryan's a good guy right there.
Exactly.
Is Sony? Rob? Sony? Rob?
Yes, there is. There's one of these for Sony.
Yeah.
And what's neat is that once you trigger it, on the back of the flash, it'll say Canon, or whoever triggered it, it'll go Canon, Sony, Fuji, Canon, Sony, Fuji, depending on whoever's triggering it. Really cool.
Huh. Like Karen, I'm gonna have to come shooting with you, I guess. Here we have.
Anytime you're up in Calgary.
You guys can. You don't hear too many negative comments about Canon ever.
No, they send goons after you if you put anything online that's negative. So watch out there, Brian.
We'll go back to our comparing different kinds of cameras another time. But this is something he's bringing up. Something that might hit me because I'll use the word hate, I guess. All these wireless solutions, like they come with certain cameras and the camera manufacturer makes the app for your phone. I spend more time connecting the darn thing because it skips over to the other Wi-Fi or whatever and missing things. And I just don't like, I'm a guy, I use a wired remote anytime I can. And I have I have some toys that are a lot of wireless things. And I just try to go with the wire. And that's one of the reasons. Now the Godox thing, one reason I went with that is that it's very consistent. It's radio, so it's not Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or anything. And it's just doing its job, and it doesn't need any darn app, and it doesn't need any darn anything else. So that's one of the things that I'm not usually a Canon shooter, but I would agree with you, Ryan, about that for sure.
Nope.
Sony.
Sorry, now it's going to look like I'm the creepy guy in the basement somewhere because my light just died off here.
Hey, well, let's make a last call for questions, and we'll wrap it up pretty soon. But
it sounds good.
Here's a question. Who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I would love to.
By all means. In fact, we have. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. We started a group, Facebook group. We could do some constructive criticism in there. There are Facebook real estate photography groups that are, believe me, they're big into the criticism. So I'm not sure.
That is one of the reasons. Like I was on PFRE for the first couple of years that I was on, and nothing made me want to slit my wrists more than that group. So
because
it's
of negative criticism.
yeah, and it is very negative. And so I just got to the point where I said, no, you know what, screw it, I'm not going to listen to it anymore. And instead, what happened was I started looking at other people's work that was better than mine. And you go at it a different way. And you're like, wow, I really like that look. How do I get that look? And it's better because now you're trying to achieve something, not run away from criticism.
Yeah.
And it's a much healthier way of going about life, I guess.
The crowds can be not helpful. I know that's one of the things, and everybody has their opinions, and some people are not going for perfection. Some people are going for what they're going for, and they have a business to run, and that's what they do. And I want to, Ryan, really good to have you, by the way. You got a lot of good stuff up here. Cam Ranger, remember that stuff I was talking about the whole having to I'll fall off the connection and reconnect and figure out how it works. And oh my God, Cam Ranger.
Yeah. No, for general real estate stuff, like we shoot for builders, interior designers, architects, designers, the whole gambit. And so we also have to look at what gear are we taking to what shoot. And so our general, for realtors, our general kit is a Canon 6D, a Sigma 12 to 24, 24-105, and a one on-camera flash and a tripod. So
that's for Ryan.
Yeah. So it's very light. My guys go into a place, they got a camera with a tripod and the flash on top, and then they have a camera bag attached to their hip with one lens in it, and that's it. And we can get in and out of a house in around, I would say 20 to 40 minutes. And in 20 minutes, we can get, and this is including going up to the door, saying hi, this is why we're wearing the mask, these are my gloves, everything's been sanitized.
That includes you shooting a Matterport with
no, the Matterport
toy.
Oh, you got one, good. No, the Matterport will take an extra 10 minutes. But we'll be in and out of a house in around 25 minutes. And then get in the car, put the card into the laptop, start driving off. And then by the time that we're at our next shoot, we're half done processing. And so, it is fast, but we have to be fast because, Ron, like you were saying, it's not a big ticket item. And so if it's not a big ticket item, we got to do more tickets. We got to sell at the stadium.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How
many photographers do you take?
Right now we've got, let's see now. We have 5 full-time, 1 part-time, 2 videographers.
But do you go to a property with a team or just with one?
No, everyone goes to every property by themselves, and they all process their own material.
It's much more fun with more than one.
It is, and that's why we've got a group of measurement techs that go out, and we try and set them up at the same time so that they all get to meet and interact and have some socialization, but not too much right now because that's faux pas. And we've got this one guy who is our he is one of our main measurement techs, and he drives all over the city for going to places, and he's quick, he's great. His name is Corey, and so we've made him our courier service whenever we need to transport replacement gear and sanitizing stuff from one place to another. We just give it to him, and then he gets passed it out to everyone because he sees everyone.
Just to keep going, it was flash photography live, I guess, today. I don't know, but Pocket Wizards, they're kind of they've been around forever, just a real consistent radio transmitter, and you have to have a receiver on each unit, and they work really well. That's one of the things. But now
go with the Godox. Go with the Godox. It's so much better.
Exactly. I think it's I think the advantage of the Pocket Wizard is that
Godox.
I agree. I totally agree. I'm just saying the advantage with the Pocket Wizard is that they're just independent, and you can use it to trigger it no matter what you're using. You can also use it to trigger your the shutter. You can use it as a remote shutter release. So it has a lot of flexibility. I still find myself using them from time to time. Like if I put the camera up in a weird position and I want to be wired, but I can't be. I'll use that. So that's they're cool. They're used to be pretty expensive. But I think they've come down.
On the used market, they have for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a set of used ones that were just. They came out with a really weird product a few years ago, and it sounded great with all kinds of TTL stuff in it. And I didn't like them. I'd love to sell them.
Yeah.
On average, how many shots do you take on a shoot, Daniel? Coming back.
So this is going to make a couple of people groan a bit. Our small standard package is 25 photos. Our regular package is dependent on the size of the house, but we're averaging anywhere from 40 to 70. The highest that we've gone is probably 180 in the house. We do twilight photos, so in that 40 minutes of pure blissful blue window light, we average around 70 to 100 photos. And
man,
yeah,
that's quite the workaround. Just going at twilight, shooting interiors at twilight is what he's saying. He's not even talking about the exteriors because we talked about it last time. I remember, yeah.
Yeah, we shoot the exteriors first, right when the sun goes down. And then by the time we're done going around the house, shooting all the exteriors, then we go inside, then the windows are all blue. We shoot all the insides, and then we get back outside, and then we shoot the exteriors again when everything is nice and dark and you get the nice orange windows on the outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, let's get back to what we're really kind of supposed to be talking about. What's your
Today's show has been sponsored by Godox, right?
Yeah, that's what you get with the live show. We go with the questions, and it's fun, and that's kind of, again, this is a lot of our stress relief. Everybody, it's just I'm just being selfish. Video beauty, to see some of those results. Is the beauty talking about the results or the? Well, never mind. What's your processing technique after HDR Photomatix? Get clean, sharp, outstanding looks. After Photomatix. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier actually on this one, but really quick. I like to go in either like Lightroom or Capture One, whichever thing you're using. I really love to use that black slider, bring down just the right place, because you get the HDR technique takes away contrast, and I like to get that black point right where it works, so that Rick Salmon says light illuminates, but I'm messing it up now, but he says shadows are the soul of the image. So getting the shadows in the right place, and that black slider was game changer when that came out. But it depends on the image. So I like to use that, start with that, and then the other thing I tend to do, since we're talking about real estate, mostly interiors, is a lot of times I will just use the brush and I'll just fix some of the colors, like the blues coming in from the outside, for instance, and take a quick, usually just takes a minute probably. So, it's not a lot of time that I spend on each image, but that's my 2 cents. You guys got anything?
Yeah. In terms of us, we do everything in.
Yeah,
we post-process everything in light.
Rewind and watch what Rob said about his post-processing. Wow.
Yeah, don't do that for every image. It just takes way, way, way too long. Right. But with us, most of our processing just comes in Lightroom, and it's you're absolutely right. If you can sharpen the contrast on the low end and high end, the mid end doesn't really matter too much because the contrast there is held pretty well with Photomatix. But yeah, it's on the dark end and the high end that you control all those. I like to use a little bit of dehaze just to punch things up, and then play with the shadows of blacks, and you're done.
Dehaze is a little bit dangerous. You just got to really be real careful with how much you put in there. There's that new texturize, or wait, is that what it's the new slider they just added? That has some interesting sharpening changes it makes. It's I haven't really figured out how to use it best yet, but I've liked it.
Yeah, for exteriors, here's a quick tip. If you've got a flat exterior look, or just have one exterior look, pull up your shadows and blacks, pull down your highlights and white, and then boost up your dehaze, and you'll get this Troy Radcliffe kind of HDR look. I
was just gonna say, be careful, because it starts to look not real anymore.
Yeah, or the Trey Radcliffe. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is he has a. I mean his stuff doesn't really look realistic, but then I'm not picking on him because he has beautiful art, but it's not interiors. It's a location
It's
type work. So
landscape and location,
yeah,
and
exactly.
it was a it was a good look 10 years ago.
Yeah,
All right,
Ryan tunes in
so
when we're live because we go off the rails. Maybe is that what you meant? Somebody asked about Young New, and this is Godox
oh
Live,
yeah,
everybody. No, just
yeah.
kidding.
I mean,
I don't know that I've heard of it, but I haven't used it. But
now I haven't found a shop where I can practice, play with it, and then return it if I don't like it. And
they don't sell it on Amazon.
well, they do, but again, you know, my whole thing about you guys don't see this a lot, but I am trying to be a enviro geek, and so, you know, whenever we can avoid using Amazon and buy from a local shop, great, we do that. We support local like crazy. We don't like shipping things back and forth because it's unnecessary, especially just to try it out, see if it works, and then ship it back. And
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
We're really conscientious about that, because if we think about the number of kilometers that we drive a year just to get all these shoots done, and we're pumping like tons of carbon into the atmosphere doing this. So any place that we can help not do that, we're all for it. So
Yeah,
no.
I'm all for shop local in any case. And
Mhm.
and you're right. I was just I'll hook you up with a friend of mine. He's that's one of his issues too. He's actually in, well, sorry, it's too big of a tangent. I don't I don't want to go there.
Yeah, one of my staff asked me once, he's like, "Hey, can you just buy us a fleet of electric cars?" I'm like, "No, I can't afford to buy a fleet of electric cars for us."
You can oh, you're in
But
Canada. You're in Canada.
if Rivian or Tesla would like to sponsor the show and buy my team an entire fleet of electrified cars, I'm all for it.
Are they offering? We've got all these. At least a couple of years ago, we had all these tax incentives to get electric cars, and you could really take
Yeah.
advantage of those.
Perfect. All right. I think Ryan's summarized exactly where we're at. It's been
Because
hour and a
everything's
half.
been answered, so we're gonna have to call it a day.
Yeah, I think it's been an hour and a half.
As usual, we keep blabbing and blabbing for an hour and a half. Carl, it's great to have you on. That was a good
Thanks
coincidence
for
there.
having me. This is the first, very interesting to me. And the color layer thing, I think that's exactly what I'm looking for. I just need to learn how to do it. And thank you for the direction.
Of
Awesome.
course. And Carl, I've got a few more tricks that I could share with you if you like.
Okay.
Just friend me on Facebook. I'm just Rob Moroto. You look me up. I'm the only one out there. So find me,
Well, okay.
friend me, and then send me a message saying, "Hey, show me how to do this stuff," and I'd be happy to.
Thank you. Well
And
worth the time today. Thank you, gentlemen.
thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right, take care. And everyone else that's been joining us up till now, thank you for your support and generous contributions to. We need a GoFundMe page or something, like a Patreon or Patreon page.
Yeah, thanks for the contributions, the questions. Yeah, if anybody wants to contribute. No, in fact, yeah, well, just by sharing this would be great. Or you can share this. You can share the Facebook group I mentioned. Would be a good one. And shoot us questions that we can use when we do this again. We try to do it every Friday, and you can like the Photomatix page, Facebook page, and then you'll get, I believe that way you get notified. Is that how that works now?
I think so.
Not quite sure. Okay, robmoroto.com. I'm Ron Pepper. I also have a .com with kind of the stuff I do. And until next time, we'll have more questions and answers. And yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Ciao.
All right. Peace out.